And we're also joined by Maria Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Maria Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Maria Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Maria Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Maria Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Bianca and Shinmei, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Each will share their real-time experience with you. So to start off our discussion, I'm going to ask Gary Hallam, our Vice President, to give us an update of the recent travel rules. And we're also joined by Bianca and Shinmei, two
Saying that I paid for this is what I'm getting for this, I'm able to achieve everything. It was so good. About the country that is responsible and being responsible to yourself. Same thing goes with teaching online. So we have over 300 programs which Conestoga offers to our domestic and international students. Not all the programs are offered online, and there is only one reason, and that reason is if we are not able to do justice teaching you and making sure that you get the learning outcomes you need after completing the program, we won't do it. So if you are here today, that means your program is being offered in May, and I look forward to interacting with you more later on this about the country that is webinar to make sure that we are all on the same thing goes with teaching online. So we have over 300 programs
Great.
which Conestoga
Thanks so much,
offers to our
Banu and
domestic and
Gary. Thanks
international
for those
students.
insights.
Not all the programs are offered online,
Another
and there is
question
only one
students have
reason.
is related to
That
the quality of
reason is if we are not
education offered in a remote program as compared to face-to-face in-class learning. Students are asking if the integrity, quality, and learning outcomes of our remote programming meet the high-quality Conestoga standards that are achieved when students study in a classroom on campus. Gary, what assurance can you offer our students to let them know that our faculty, staff, and other college stakeholders are committed to delivering programs and services aimed at student success outcomes?
Thanks, Janet. And I'll build on what Banu was saying. So
able to do justice, teaching you and making sure
integrity, quality, and learning outcomes of our remote programming meet the high-quality Conestoga standards that are achieved when students study in a classroom on campus. Gary, what assurance can you offer our students to let them know that our faculty, staff, and other college stakeholders are committed to delivering programs and services aimed at students?
But I won't, because we have other questions, I know. So some short facts for you. It's the same teachers. We teach live classes just via a webinar for you with the same teachers you would have in person. It's the same curriculum, live lectures, extensive training, things that are accredited, such as accounting. So our CPA Canada has approved online learning, and financial planning, engineering programs have approved all of that. So all of the accrediting associations approve this. We use great ebooks in many cases. Our services, a library, all the books are available remotely online. We have incredible advising online where you can book appointments with advisors. And a few final points, and I could go on and on about the quality, but I think it's very important for you to hear from our students about their experience. But we've kept our class sizes very small. So your teachers will know who you are, and you can ask questions within your classes and interact with your students and with your teachers. And lastly, our vice president of academic maintains strict quality assurance measures with if it's online or if it's in class or some hybrid, that quality, there's a reason Conestoga is one of Canada's best polytechnic education facilities, institutions, is because of the quality of our faculty, quality of our programs, and ultimately the success of our students. And that has not changed. So long answer for you, but I assure you we're committed to a quality program remotely as we are in person. Janet?
Thanks, Gary. And Banu, I know that parents especially are concerned about education quality. Please tell us how you put their concerns at ease.
So, Janet, I started this around November, December, when doing these webinars, instead of doing it with the agents or the parents, the agents and the students, I started inviting parents to be part of it, and that became a huge success. And there we had a very mature kind of discussion, and I was able to highlight certain things which for 12 years I've been a very proud employee of Conestoga. Around 33% of Conestoga's new program development committee or existing program maintenance committee comprises of leaders from the industry. So they tell us what the future holds, and we either create a new program or we modify our existing program to meet the future needs. Conestoga is not an overnight school. We've been here since 1967, and we're looking forward to another thousands of years to come. We take huge pride in satisfying the need of our community. These community colleges were created in each community to satisfy the employment and other needs. And when these people in the committee tell us what the future holds, we prepare a learning outcome for a program, we share it with the committee, and those people say yes to that. Now it's our responsibility to make sure that we have graduates with those learning outcomes so that these employers are able to hire them. So when we are teaching anything, either it's online or it's in class, previously before pandemic, right, that is prime. We cannot let these employers down because of those employers we were established in 1967, right? And those employers would be a reason why we would be there. For students to know that when we submit a new program requisition request to the government, we have to prove it, that there are jobs available in that sector for that particular program, because this is a government college, we get funding from the government, so we have to prove that. So it's very important for us to have our graduates ready to take on those jobs. So there is no way Conestoga, in any, like what Gary said, we are known for our quality. We would not compromise on that, and we take it very, very seriously.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your insights again. Okay, now obviously the remote delivery of each program is different, but as both Gary and Banu have confirmed, and in typical Conestoga fashion, all departments and schools have worked hard to adapt our programming, make the necessary delivery modifications, and employ the flexibility necessary to make a successful transition to remote delivery. And all of this without compromise to program quality or outcomes. And who better to talk about this than some of our current faculty who are actually teaching our students remotely? Let's have a look.
So my favorite thing about remote learning is how much we care about each other. The students check in with me, I check in with the students. There's a real feeling of family and connection, and that is actually my favorite thing. We actually can focus on our studies, and we're right here present with each other.
I really think that there is such value in remote learning and remote classrooms. So I would encourage students to start this adventure. We're all in this together. We are all remote. And so why not take the brave leap and start working towards your future?
One of the things that stands out for me from listening to the students is how they appreciate the flexibility. So they're able to fit this program in around a part-time job, or if they have children or other life demands, they can do this and fit it into their life.
Two things that I think are great about teaching online is the convenience and the comfort. First of all, the comfort, knowing that I can go to work each day and I'm not endangering any students' lives. We're all able to stay safe and healthy because we're learning remotely. And that's been a great comfort to me personally. In many ways, I think that there are some students that might want to continue online even after we're able to be back together physically. And I think the same is true for me.
Have a better interaction one-to-one with each other and with the professor, and it imitates the actual environment, actual IT environment they would be working in, because typically when you go out, teams are working on Slack or Teams or Skype, so they get a pretty hands-on experience of what working outside of a classroom does really look like, because everything's remote today, so they are getting a good hands-on experience on that too.
We look forward to welcoming international students to Conestoga College.
We're looking forward to welcoming our new students from around the world.
We look forward to welcoming you from your home, wherever you are in the world, to our learning home at Conestoga College.
So there you have it. The many tools in place to help students successfully study online include real-time lectures, Zoom, Teams, and Skype meeting options, as well as a bank of resources and course materials accessible through our eConestoga platform. Using eConestoga, faculty can post lecture notes, special assignment instructions, and other course-related materials for students to access as needed. Also, most courses have e-texts and other suggested course resources and materials for students to use. Obviously, the goal is for you to attend classes remotely and participate in each session. But in rare cases when you're unable to do this, let's say, for example, you experience an emergency loss of internet connection. We want to make sure that through the eConestoga platform, you're able to review what you may have missed. In addition, many faculty have extended office hours, host special drop-in sessions or small group meetings, and offer many other opportunities for students to connect. The key is flexibility, and we're all working together for your success. And don't worry, you will receive very clear instructions on how to navigate remote learning, including how to log in, attend classes, complete and submit assignments, and everything else you need to know. Our students who have been studying remotely since March last year have told us time and time again that their faculty are always available to reply to emails, jump on a call to answer a quick question, or connect with them in other ways. The bottom line is we're all being flexible to work with students to help them be successful. Classes no longer occur in a specific room at a specific time, and when time's up, you leave the class. Instead, Conestoga learning is happening in many forms, and our students have been able to adapt with great outcomes. I think this is a perfect time to introduce Maria Bianca from the Philippines and Chinmay from India, two Conestoga international students who are currently studying remotely from their home countries. Maria Bianca, let's start with you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, including the name of your program, what level you're in, and how long have you been studying remotely?
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Bianca Joy Hernandez, and I'm currently at my level 2, and I'm studying international business with Conestoga. I started last September 2020.
Okay, thanks. And now, Chinmay, over to you. How long have you been studying remotely? What level are you in, and what's your program?
Hello to all. My name is Chinmay Shah, and I am currently at level 2. My program is Mobile Solutions Development, and I have joined Conestoga since September 2020.
Perfect. Okay, so now, Maria Bianca, back to you. Can you please describe your Conestoga remote learning experience so far?
So far, it has been wonderful. I mean, I also started scared because there are a lot of uncertainties because when I started, I still don't have my visa. The only thing I have is an approval in principle. So I am still, I still don't know if I will get approved or not. But when I reached out to my program coordinator, she explained to me that deferring my program or deferring my start or my intake is actually not an option because even if I start later, it doesn't mean that the classes will be done on campus. So I took a leap of faith and I started my remote learning. And so far, since September of 2020, it has been nothing but amazing. My professors are always there for me. There were times wherein I have confusion with with the topics, but all I have to do is reach out to them, and they usually offer to jump in a Zoom meeting so they can discuss further. And the tool that Conestoga is using, I mean, what we call e-Conestoga, is very user friendly. I mean, everything is there. What I notice is that if students like me is really focused on their studies, then Conestoga is the school that will help them succeed with their academics.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Maria Bianca. Now, Shinmei, over to you. Please share your remote learning experience with our audience. If you were a potential student in our audience, what are the things you'd want to know about remote learning?
So, hello to the students. As I experienced the remote learning, it was good, and professor loves to support each and every student as much as possible, because they also know about the situation that remote learning is hard for the student, but they do as much as possible that student is comfortable with the online learning, and even they allow us the extra time, extra classes for the students which have missed the classes, like for the power cut or data connection problems like that, or even time zone problems, like when the class starts in Canada, in India there is night. So there are many flexibilities they have provided us. And as Maria said, that e-Conestoga is very easy to use, and they upload each and every assignment, each and every topics for the learning every day. So we are very easy to access everything. We can use to learn each and every subject. So it is easy for me. In the start, I was also afraid to take the online studies, but right now here I am, and I am happy with my studies and college as well.
That's awesome. Thanks so much to you both. It sounds like things are going really, really well for you. We're glad to hear that you're comfortable with online delivery of your program, that you feel you're connected to your instructors and your classmates, and that your learning outcomes are being achieved. Thanks again so much for joining us today. So we've heard about the travel rules, talked about education quality and outcomes, and even heard directly from faculty and students about the remote delivery and learning experiences. So as we near the conclusion of our session today, Gary, please summarize your best advice for our students who are pre-registered for this May intake.
Thanks, and great job by our two students. First of all, I want to compliment them for 2 semesters of online remote learning from their home country. So well done. To our students for May, please, this is a huge step you're taking now. You're doing your research. This is a big decision. Speak with your family. You can start remotely for most programs, so it is a great option for you. You don't have to rush into traveling. My other suggestion is start as soon as possible. Every time you defer, it becomes tougher and tougher to ensure the next semester will have availability for you. And jokingly, but it is true, our tuition goes up in September. Conestoga kept our tuition frozen to 2019 prices for this whole year. And May is the last semester with lesser tuition. Then it goes up. We'll be about equal with other colleges, but shouldn't be your main reason. But there is a savings for you to start. But all things considered, this is a big decision. Do your research, but I suggest the sooner you start, the better. The other component is your out of country studies count towards your postgraduate work permit up until the end of December. So you have all of this year, all of your studies outside of Canada count towards your postgraduate work permit. So why not get started? Move forward. So lastly, I'll leave you with, if you do have questions, please reach out to our team. We are here to help you with your decision, if it's today, tomorrow, or along your journey throughout your time at Conestoga. One of my favorite days in my role is graduation. So I look forward to seeing you at graduation. Maybe shaking hands will be gone, but I look forward to seeing you on stage at graduation at some point. Good luck in your decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gary. And Banu, what are you able to add to what Gary has just given us in terms of advice?
The first thing I would say, I don't think that anybody here wants to differ. If you guys are taking out an hour from your time, you're here to know how to start. You guys are leaders. Life is happening right now. Don't wait. I would share a true story. After our March webinar, some of the parents reached out to me and they were talking about the same thing around differing and stuff like that. And I asked them why. It was not the student who wanted to differ. Later on, I found out it was a mob mentality. Someone felt weak that they cannot do it, and they were scared to do it alone. So now they're changing other people's mind so that now they have a group of people to be losers. So when I'm talking to the parent, I told him that, sir, when in your house you don't have bread, that guy is not going to go and get bread for you. You have to go and get the bread, meaning you have to take responsibility for yourself and for your life. So please, there's a lot of confusion in the market. Please don't let yourself be played with people's insecurity or benefit. Think for yourself. You've heard Chinmay, you've heard Maria talk about their experiences studying online. Gary and I were talking last night, and one of the things both of us were agreeing to, and we came here as not as Conestoga's employees, but as parents, right? We are here as parents. We are here to encourage you to start your life, be it Conestoga or be it somewhere else, doesn't matter right now, right? It is about to start your life. We have our whole international team here, which representatives. So we have from admissions, we have from services, we have from recruitment, we have from social media.
This program in around a part-time job,
why we are
or
here
if they have
to
children.
make sure that we are able to answer your questions, so that when you start, you have no confusion, but clarity. As Conestoga. So my advice to you would be, let's start. We are here as parents. We are here. Thank you, Janet.
Okay, thanks so much to you both. Great information, insight, perspective. And hopefully our students will take this information under advisement as they make their decisions moving forward. So before we get to our open Q&A session, we just want to make sure that you know exactly how to register for your program. So first off, you must submit a copy of your IRCC approval to study before you arrive. Acceptable documents include a preliminary eligibility assessment letter, also known as a PEA, an approval in principle letter, or an AIP, a letter of introduction or authorization, or your final visa approval. Then please upload a copy of your approval to study document to your OCAS portal. And this is a very important next step. Please be sure to email international admissions at conestogac.on.ca to confirm with us that you've completed this step. In order for your registration to be finalized, you will also be required to confirm your invoice. We've shared a video link that explains how to do this in the chat box on your screen. Okay, so much great information to help you make the right decisions. And in the time remaining, we're now going to answer some of the questions you've been asking. I'm going to turn the webinar over to Coco, our media coordinator, who's going to share some of your questions with our panel. Coco, over to you.
Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you so much, everybody. I see lots of questions rolling in, hundreds of questions rolling in. So I'm going to try to group them together and address the students' concern. Foremost, I think I'm going to turn it to Janelle, our international transition coordinator, because we have lots of questions about the 3-day quarantine in the hotel and then the subsequent 11-day quarantine afterwards. So Janelle, can you give us a rough kind of outline or update on what the quarantine rules are, especially if students can quarantine together, what type of accommodation counts as a valid quarantine place? Does Airbnb count? Can they share a washroom with someone? Just things like that. Janelle, can I turn it over to you?
Yes, thank you, Coco. Hi, everyone. Good to be here. Happy to answer questions about travel and safe quarantine. Before I get into the answers of those questions that Coco presented, I just wanted to let you know that we have a safe arrival and quarantine plan. It's right on our international website. There's a banner right at the top that says Safe Arrival Plan. And I know that our chat is quickly moving, but I'll make sure to put all this information in the chat as well. And we'd like to invite you, if you've got more questions about this, we've got a number of upcoming Safe Arrival webinars, one tomorrow, and you're welcome to register for that as well. And I'll also put our transition coordinator contact information there. If you don't get this information right now, it's all on our website as well. But to answer, yes, currently there is still a 3-day mandatory hotel stopover requirement for students traveling into Canada. That is a part of your 14-day quarantine requirement. So after your 3 days, you would then transfer over to your secondary quarantine location. And some of the questions involved in this is, number one, can it be shared, right? So our answer to that is the only time you are able to share quarantine accommodations is if you have lived with the person back in your home country. So for example, you're traveling with your spouse, okay? Or you're traveling with your small child. In those situations, yes, you are allowed to share quarantine accommodations. For those of you who have friends who are coming to Conestoga too, that's very exciting. But if you didn't live together back in your home country, you are not allowed to share accommodations. So you would be required to have a private room with private bathroom as well. Okay, so another question is, what kind of secondary accommodations can I have? Whether it be Airbnb, living with friends and family. That's one great thing about attending at Conestoga. There's no one-size-fits-all package. We actually allow you to do that, to live with an aunt or an uncle that lives in Ontario, so long as you are following the Government of Canada and Conestoga requirements. Again, a private bedroom, private bathroom, and all other requirements are met. So again, please email us at internationaltransition@conestogac.on.ca if you have further questions. I'm about to leave the rest of the information I mentioned earlier in the chat. Does that answer the questions, Coco?
Yes. Oh, am I on mute? Oh, no. Yes, it does. Janelle, I have a follow-up question for you. We have many students that are planning to come, and they're wondering, when do they need to inform the college that they're arriving? What should be their first step, I guess?
I love that question. Yes, you absolutely need to let the college know. And we have a very specific way that you would let us know. It comes in a form, very quick to fill out, and it lets us know all the details of your travel so that we can make sure that you're on our list and we can keep in contact with you, okay? So it is the Safe Arrival, it's on the Safe Arrival Plan, and it's called the Self-Isolation and Quarantine Form. I can include that as a link that I can enter on the chat as well, but you can find this on the iSend app, available for download on Google Play or Apple, right? Either one. And you have to fill out that form. Yeah, so it's a specific form. If you have questions about that, email us, we'll send it to you directly.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Janelle.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think now we're going to talk a little bit more about remote learning. So the question is, for practical courses, like courses in IT, how is the practical component still being integrated into online class process? How can that be done through online class?
I think if Chinmay is here, Chinmay, you are doing mobile solution development. That's an IT-related program, and you have both kind of practical and theory. Do you mind just shedding a quick 1-minute light on that, and then maybe one of us can take over?
Yes, sir, no problem. In the IT thing, the requirement is bring your own device. I have using my laptop, and there is not a problem in that, because in the labs you have to perform any practicals, but they are providing each and every steps for that. And I have been doing this for a whole semester, and there wasn't a problem for that. And I am comfortable with all the practicals and theories both.
Well, thank you, Chinmay, and I can build on that. It's a great question, and Conestoga still has 5,000 students on campus for programs that we believe need to be on campus. So construction trades, culinary, baking, some health science labs where you need to be in person with our facilities. IT business, some health theory. There's great remote learning happening. And some programs have taken a course from the first year and moved it to the second year that really requires a hands-on. But if you think IT, we're in one of Canada's IT areas, in one of the biggest areas in Canada for IT, and Google, Shopify, all of their employees are working, most of their employees are working from home, and they're IT companies. Most of the Conestoga IT staff are working from home. So IT can be done remotely. And if there are specific hardware related courses, they're just moved into the later parts if needed. But if it has to be done in person, we would be delivering a hybrid program. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gary. Also, another question about the mechanics of starting classes, whether they can watch the classes afterwards. So does that mean that they can work full time, because then they can watch the recordings of their class, not miss any content?
Not a great question, and we have this question equally as much when we're in person. Students want to work full time. If you are committing to your college education, working part-time is really the most you should be. I'll speak as an executive dean and someone who was a faculty many years ago. You need to focus on your studies. However, we know most students have part-time jobs, and many lectures are recorded, but not all, but most of the material is put up on the website for you to view after. So absolutely, you can go back to the material. You can watch most lectures after, but I can't guarantee it'll be all of them, but most of them. So it's very flexible for you as a student. However, the workload is still there. Conestoga is about quality. Our industry partners like Google, Shopify, et cetera, demand quality employees. So it's no easier than in person, and you think, oh, I can just do whenever I want. You have a lot of work to do, and it's about our quality. So just balance your workload is all I ask.
And just to add to that, there are certain countries in this world which are influence plays a big role. Like if my dad knows somebody, I'll get a job, etc. Canada is a land of performance. So understanding the subject matter is very important. Can you listen to the recordings? Absolutely, yes. How will you get your questions answered? So you are listening to the lecture, now you have a question, but it's a recording, you cannot ask. So Chinmay, I think, reflected during his first little presentation that the faculty is there and it's kind of interactive. You can ask questions and things like that, right? You're paying a lot of money, right? And I would not take it granted that just come back and look at a recording. Like YouTube is available for that, and you can do a lot of courses. But if you are studying at Conestoga, my suggestion would be that please try to be in the class so that your questions are answered and you are better prepared for the job tomorrow. Coco?
Thank you so much. I know Janelle may have to leave early, so I'm going to give another question to her before moving on to the other questions. Janelle, we have questions about the healthcare plan, what's available for students out of country, and also what about students in country? Janelle?
Sorry, was there more to that question, Coco? I didn't hear.
Okay. Yeah, so we have questions about
the gist of that.
Yes. The student health.
Great. Let me know if I missed anything. So international students full-time in Canada have access to health insurance. It's actually built in within their tuition. And if you are traveling to Canada, you are eligible for emergency coverage up to 30 days prior only. And you would be eligible then for your full coverage when your classes begin. So this is something, I'll just speak generally on it. Yes, you would be covered, and the information is found on our international website as well as the CSI website. So if you want to find out more detailed information about that, please do check out our website with all of the health insurance information. But just know that yes, you'd be covered. Make sure you know when you're covered, what you're covered for, and all of that is outlined on the website. A really great contact for this would be CSI Health Plan at conestogac.on.ca. So CSI Health Plan at conestogac.on.ca, and they can provide you more detailed information should you have it after reviewing the information found online. Thanks, Coco. Did I cover that?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chanel. Okay, now turning back to Gary, we have a student wondering, because Ontario is under lockdown and there are classes that are happening in hybrid format. Can you talk about how Conestoga is still being safe despite the current pandemic?
Sure, great question. And we put in the strictest, what we believe to be the strictest safety measures of any institution. We have, with the lockdown, we are still operating classes for labs only. And right now, as of this week, they're at a capacity of 10 students per lab. Even if we come out of lockdown, we're still only up to about 15 students to 18 students per lab compared to the normal 24. So greatly reduced numbers for social distancing within the labs. Every student and staff who enters campus has to have security clearance. They have to pre-screen themselves every day, and we issue a Conestoga mask when you arrive on campus. You can't wear your old dirty mask. We give you a mask to put on when you enter and you leave the campus. We have extra cleaning on campus. Our cafeterias, unfortunately, are not open. And we're very, very proud. We're one of the few institutions that have had 0 cases of transmission on campus. 0, not one case of transmission on campus at Conestoga. Our president, safety is #1. So we've been very, very strict about that.
Thank you so much, Gary. Okay, so to some more of the technical questions. Can I start my course without my visa, PPR, PEA, etc.?
I defer this to one of our admissions officers, or Banu. I don't know if you want to address where the current status is on this.
So I think we are still in a deciding stage whether we would allow that or not, and that decision, we are in consultation with a lot of stakeholders, like the students, of course, how many of them would be interested to do that. We're also speaking to our faculty with their past experiences, because what we have noticed is, though a lot of students welcome this idea to start the program while they have applied for their visa and still waiting for a decision, some of them midway, if they have not heard, because Canadian embassies around the world are overpacked with applications right now, midway they just get a little worried or scared and they pull out. So what I think Gary and the top management team, what they're doing right now is trying to put a plan so that operationally it becomes very convenient for our students if they choose to withdraw later on or they choose to continue with their studies. I think in a week or so, a decision would be made and a communication would be sent to all of you.
Yeah, we do have some ways you can start. And Kirsty, I'm not sure if you want to elaborate, or I can elaborate. Go ahead, Kirsty. Yeah.
Thank you. Sure. So for students to start their program right now, you can have your AIP, which is your approval in principle, your PEA, preliminary eligibility assessment. You can have your letter of introduction, your stamp on your passport, or your actual study permit document, or the passport stamp request letter. So there are many ways that you're able to begin your program now, but we do need to have some form of either whether it's partial approval or full approval to begin your program at this time.
Thank you so much. So then for students who don't have, or they're still waiting for some of these documents to come, what should they do right now?
So if I may, Christy, sorry, if I am, because I have experienced this in January and then in March as well, because we decided slightly later that we'll allow students who have just applied for the visa. You still have a month, right? So I don't think there is any need to panic right now, right? And the entire Conestoga's recruitment, marketing, service, admission team, finance, we are all here and we understand we have done things which normally we will not do to accommodate the students and make sure that it works out in your favor. You have put a lot of trust in us and we'll make sure that we come up to that. So don't panic right now, just give us a week, and in a week a decision would be made. I'm looking at Gary right now because he's gonna stamp it. A decision would be made, and the decision would be made after keeping everything in consideration and making sure that it's best for you.
And I'll just add, Kirsty, thanks for the specifics there. So there's many ways you can start now out of country with many different statuses of visa application. I do suggest if you have one of those current statuses that Kirsty mentioned, such as your visa, your PEA, etc., that you register and confirm your spot as soon as possible. Because if we do open it up for those who just have a VIP visa in principle, that they've applied only for their visa, nothing else, then other spots will be taken, and many of our high demand programs will be full. That I suggest if you're in any other status, you register and confirm your intent to start as soon as possible, is my recommendation. It's a great question, and hopefully the visa offices stay open and stay processing. So we'll keep monitoring very, very closely.
Can I add a quick word about registering, if that's okay?
Yes, please.
So I know Janet went over the slide about everything that needs to be taken care of before we can complete your registration. One thing I do urge students is when you send your email with your letting us know that you've uploaded your visa, to please let us know that you want to be registered. I know there's been some confusion in the past that students think their registration is automatic and the system will just register them and they'll have access to their timetable right away after they've completed those items. That is not the case. We do have to review each file and manually register you. So please ensure you do send an email to us if you are looking to register. And again, that email is internationaladmissions@conestogac.on.ca.
Thank you, everybody. So I guess the next question is, when will be the last day to register for May intake, especially for hybrid programs?
Great question. For hybrid, if you're being on campus, you have to take into account you need to quarantine for 14 days as well. So you need to be in Canada minimum, and I would actually say closer to 17 days in case the test results from day 14 don't come back for a few extra days. And then maybe someone from our admissions team. It depends on the program as well. But if it's a high demand program, some of them will be filled within weeks from now. So I'll start it, then I'll just pass it to someone else. But it depends on the program, and you need to allow time to get to Canada. Because you cannot miss your first 2 weeks of class. If it's on campus.
Perfect. And then for students that are planning to travel to Canada, what kind of documents do they need? Do they need a travel support letter from the college?
That's not a need anymore.
समग्र देश में अभी कोरोना वाला तेम फलाणું
make sure before you go
તમામ વેપારીઓ જેવા કે કાપડની દુકાન, સ્ટેશનરી, કટલરી સ્ટોર, રેસ્ટોરન્ટ, હોટલ, ખાણીપીણીની લારીઓ, ચાની હાટડીઓ, કરિયાણા સ્ટોર જેવી તમામ દુકાનો, ઓફિસો બંધ કરવા વિનંતી કરવામાં આવે છે.
help you register before you go to the airport. I have experienced in January, some of the students were sent back from the airport from their home country because till the time you don't register,
બંધ નહીં કરાવે કોઈ તમને
સ્વેચ્છાએ બંધ રાખવાનું. And the immigration officer, we cannot blame them. The immigration officer does not understand that you have to actually register to be enrolled, and your letter of acceptance they don't consider as letter of enrollment. So please make sure that you are enrolled. and you have a copy of that, both you are able to show it online to them there in your home country, and also as a printed copy. But you don't need a travel letter anymore.
And just, if it's so important that you inform the college that you are planning to travel. The very, very few students, 99% of our students have entered Canada without any problem. The 1% that have had challenges have not contacted our transition coordinators to ensure they've had their documentation, such as Banu referred to. So please, it's essential that you communicate with us about your quarantine plan and your travel plan so we can help you be prepared to enter Canada.
Thank you. Okay, so moving a little bit more into the actual program courses at Conestoga. What is the scope of co-curricular and extracurricular activities now that we're moving to remote learning? Can one of our students maybe take that on? Or Janelle, I know you also run a lot of extracurricular activities.
You're muted.
Janelle, you're muted.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, everyone. I can definitely talk about extracurricular options online. It's very exciting. I know that, there's some questions about that. How is this happening? How are we staying connected? And there are so many different opportunities for students to connect with other students, to connect with some staff, and to participate in extracurriculars online. One major hub that we have is called the Co-Curricular Portal, and a number of different departments, including international, post on this portal a number of events. So events that are more, social to more academic, library services posts, athletic services. There are athletic classes online. There are webinars that we host that are all about transitioning to Canada. So it's definitely still a vibrant community, and you can definitely still participate just right online. Usually the platform we use is Zoom, which you will be so familiar with as you continue in your studies, even in online classes. So yes, there are definite opportunities to connect. And I don't know if any of the students want to talk a little bit about their experience doing this, but if you have any other questions, please do let us know.
Chanel. So we have a student wondering, previously when I think it's Banu was talking about industry partners such as Google and Shopify and stuff like that. Can you expand on how these companies factor into their actual coursework or co-op and to the program itself in terms of these industry partners?
I can start with that. And we, in many ways, Banu alluded to our program advisory committees. So just within the business school, there's, well, at the college, there's almost 1,000 industry partners that serve on program advisory committees, helping us guide our curriculum with our faculty. And remember, our faculty have come from industry as well. They're industry professionals and faculty and teachers. Then many of them guest speak. They come and speak to classes. Some of them teach part-time for us. So many industry leaders teach part-time. We have capstone projects in upper years where they do industry projects with live customers. We have co-ops where our co-ops are paid co-ops in some programs. All of our 4-year bachelor degrees have paid co-ops in them. A number of other programs have co-ops. Some have externships, work placements, where they get out and do some experiential learning with industry. Before COVID, we were doing some site visits, which we'll resume right after. But it's amazing with Zoom. We have more guest speakers coming on now with Zoom that they can come on, and we're so they're very, very engaged with industry. And to us, industry is a partner in the student's journey. And I'll open it up for the team members to build on that if they'd like.
I think, Gary, you summed it very nicely. The industry gives us the direction. The foundation of why we would teach a program comes from the industry, and throughout maintaining that program and changing as things change, we consult the industry, and those industry partners becomes our potential employers, both at a co-op and postgraduate level once the student finishes their programs.
so much. Another question is regarding the financial stress and subsequent, studying remotely and the financial burden that students are facing. So they're wondering how Conestoga College has implemented ways to support students during this difficult time.
I can start with, well, first of all, we kept our tuition low. We did not raise our tuition, which was well over $1,000 savings for many programs that was passed to all international students, whether you're starting new or you're already here. So we looked at it as a holistic approach to help all students, all international students immediately. We also have a bursary that is for out-of-country students, and I might have missed this in my opening remarks. Advantage of starting out of country for May, and for the past 2 semesters we've done this because the government's recommending you don't travel, and we still want you to start. And if you have any additional costs out of country, then or when you arrive, we have to provide students who start out of country $1,000 bursary that is applied to your account once you arrive in Canada. So you might arrive in Canada 2 months after your first semester is out of country, but you get that $1,000 applied to your tuition for the next term, and that helps you as well. We do have emergency bursaries, but you have to demonstrate at need. But the college has been very sensitive to that and listened very closely with our student association and with our students of how we can assist.
Thank you so much. All right, Gary, any plans to be back on campus? When do you think we'll have offline campus?
Oh, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Any plans to be fully back on campus? When do you think Conestoga will have the full offline classes?
Oh, that's a great question. And if I had a crystal ball, I would never have thought we'd be back into a lockdown around the world right now. So I'm maybe naive, but I'm also a very optimistic person. So first, remember, we have 5,000 students still on campus. Our goal is by September to grow that number. With help, for as long as we're able to, our plan is to grow that number. But it won't be normal in September for sure. But there will be more classes. We're hoping to get more classes on campus, or a portion of a program to have a campus experience starting in September and then growing each semester following that. And unfortunately, that's not in our decision, and we will hope to make more formal announcements by sometime in May for what September will look like. It'd be probably late May of what September will look like. But our goal, and that's pretty consistent across the college, is we hope to have a gradual return to campus starting by September, but it is out of our control, unfortunately.
Thank you, Gary. We have a student wondering if remote learning will affect co-op because their program has a co-op option, and also if it will affect their job placement or employability after their studies are completed.
The short answer is no and no. Students, depending on what you're doing, some students are working in industry and co-op, some are working remotely for their co-op, and many industries are working remotely. So just because you studied remotely, it's actually maybe looked at as a positive. Then you've learned new skills in life to learn remotely. And my kids are both in high school, and they spend 5 days remote. They go to school for 5 days, and then the remote. So in Canada, it's just expected that you now know how to work remote, live remote, and study remote. So we keep moving forward.
The only thing I'll add to that is, again, the subject knowledge. So remote or no remote does not matter. When the time comes to get a co-op, for example, in Canada, or get a job, your subject knowledge would be key to everything. Nobody's going to ask you whether you were studying online or not, where you are from, what's your status or whatever. Can you do the job? That's where it boils down to. So if you're regular in your class and asking the right questions from the teacher to unstuck yourself, that would be the key for your success.
Thank you so much, Emily and Gary. So another question, this is kind of like a technical question. I'm having problems, we have students having problems with their Condor ID, they can't log in, or they can't get their one card, they're having problems with these technical aspects. What is the best way for them to get that fixed? Who should they connect with? I'm not really sure who to pose this question to.
I can take this question. Normally when I have students that are having troubles logging in, the first thing I always suggest is to try their student number with a capital C, small c, and their student number as their password. Try that. If it doesn't work, I do always recommend calling or contacting our IT service desk. They usually they are the ones that hold all the credentials and can answer those questions. They are experiencing a bit of a backlog, so they might take a few days to reply, but that email address is itsdesk@conestogac.om.ca, and they're really the only ones that can reset passwords and help students have access to their accounts that might not be sure of their credentials.
Alrighty, thank you so much. So a student's wondering, is it the same for international students attending classes remotely from Canada,